Hey, what is up, ROC Podcast Nation? Welcome back to another episode of the Right of Center Conservative Podcast, taking over the nation. Guys, today you have a solo episode by yours truly at Real Mike Bell. And Ryan is, he's up to no good. There are some shenanigans at work, and he is out there trying to hold down his own. I have a sneaking suspicion that we're going to find out more about that when he's ready to release that information. So he'll be swinging by tomorrow sometime. We're going to record another custom episode for you guys to detail what he's up to tonight, guys. And if you know Ryan, if you've been following what's going on with Ryan, then you probably know he posted something the other day. He went live and he posted something that was saying he had a piece of somebody impacted his life. All right. Now he's out there trying to get that squared away as we speak. So more power to him. But tonight, nevertheless, you have myself. And tonight, what I'd like to get into, guys, is a few different things. Here in a little bit, we're going to try some stuff. We're going to go live with the phones, see if we can get some of you awesome, right of center folks from across the United States to call in. It's the first time we're going to do that here on the show. I really wish Ryan would have been here for that, but unfortunately, he's not. In fact, I think he might actually try to call into the show. So, Ryan, if you're out there watching, make sure you're paying attention. And when we open the lines up, just go ahead and jump on in. So what I'd like to get into today is over the past week, we released a couple of episodes, both on the free side and in the on the exclusive side. We were talking about COVID a bit. We released COVID Crazy 3, as you know, your boy here, because of some other things that were happening in my life. And the data and the statistics that I was able to capture, I made a decision to go out and get the vaccine. And today marks my second dose of the vaccine. So as of today, I'm fully vaccinated. So if I drop dead here in a couple of weeks, guys, then you know why. But no, I think I'm going to be okay. And there's some conspiracy stuff going around about implanting these devices and stuff. And had I been in a facility where it was okay for me to break out devices or cameras to record what I was doing, I would have had some footage for you. But one of the somebody was saying that they're implanting like metal chips and stuff like that. So if you hold a magnet up next to your arm when you get shot, it like defrags the chips or whatever. So I tried it. I held a magnet up. It didn't do anything. I just kind of wiped it my arm or whatever. But I'm not really worried about that. But I was just thinking, like, would it really do that? I thought that would be pretty cool. But no, nevertheless, it didn't do that. So, but what that leads me to is some news that broke today. It was some stuff I was already wanting to talk about. But as the news develops, we got some new news today, which is this. So President Biden came out today. And this was just a couple hours ago. He came out and he said, if you are fully vaccinated, so meaning you have either 2 shots of the 2-shot cycle being Moderna or Pfizer, or you have the single shot of the J&J vaccine, then you are good to go. You can walk around outside without a mask on. In fact, he even gave us permission to shake hands and give each other hugs. So if you see me on the streets, come on up. We'll hug it out. But no, I thought that was some decent news. The problem is I don't wear my mask when I'm outside anyways. The only time I wear my mask is if there is a potential for conflict. Meaning if I go into the dollar store and, Chuck and Tom from behind the counter says, hey, you need to put your mask on, instead of giving them a bad day, I just put the mask on, I get my eggs, I get my milk, I get whatever the hell I need, and I get out. No conflict. Same thing like Wawa or the grocery store or something like that. If I'm challenged, I put the mask on. Our co-host Ryan, he doesn't wear a mask anywhere he goes, but oftentimes, sometimes he just won't even go in the store. He's just like, somebody else go in, I don't want to deal with it. But wearing around outside the house, like, no way, man. I'm not wearing a mask if I'm walking down the street. It just doesn't make any sense to me. This season, with sports and everything, we had an opportunity to watch high school football in the spring. It was, bonus for the school for making that happen and getting out there and letting us, participate in sports that would normally be a fall sport. They ran it in the spring, and I was able to get out there and stuff. And you just watch all these people. They've got the tape out on the bleachers. You're only allowed to sit in certain areas to maintain that social distancing, but then they make you wear a mask at the same time. And I'm just like, this doesn't make any sense. But if you eat sunflower seeds, you don't have to wear the mask. So I just had a cheek full of seeds. Guys, if you're watching this real quick, as I said, we're implementing the stream functionality here. If you're watching this, go ahead and throw a share. I don't have anybody here monitoring the comments with me tonight. I've got a little bit of a panel here. I can see if people are commenting, but stop what you're doing. If you see the stream, go ahead and share it out, guys. Let people know. But COVID stuff. So I actually I was thinking about this earlier in the week as I was starting to do some show prep for this week's episode. And this was before Biden came out, and it was before Fauci came out yesterday and this morning and had his pressers and stuff like that. And last week, I think it was, or the beginning of this week, Fauci came out and started saying that he thinks that people are they will actively choose to wear the mask even if COVID isn't a danger. And he thinks that people are going to wear the mask to avoid the flu. And he started rambling off all this stuff. And he's like, there really hasn't been a flu season this year, the predominantly reduced flu season. And when you go back in time, you can see that there are countless deaths. I mean, tens of thousands of deaths every year because of the flu. And this year, I think it's like 1,500 in the entire flu season. And the flu season just came to an end. Flu season often is October to May. And this flu season is now officially over, and there were only 1,500 deaths or so. And the CDC hasn't came out and confirmed those numbers yet, but there are some sites where you could go and pull that stuff up. Now, why is that important? There's a couple of things there. A lot of people say that a lot of the COVID diagnoses were misdiagnosed, that people really had the flu. The PCR test found a very small amount of the COVID strain, and they classified it as a COVID sickness. Although, and this is what's wonky here, you could be asymptomatic, essentially. You could be asymptomatic of the COVID, but still have the flu. So your symptoms are flu symptoms, but they test you for COVID, and now you're a COVID case, when in reality you have the flu or you have both. And that's kind of the dual threat, right? The double jeopardy there on you. So a lot of people suspect, and there are, of course, the COVID deniers that they kind of toe this line a little bit, but a lot of people suspect that the reason why that we haven't seen the influx in flu deaths this year are because everything's been miscategorized as COVID. And let me give you some numbers here, guys. Okay. So for those of you new to the show, you probably don't know this. I'm a scientist by trade. So what I do, I look at numbers. I just happen to be right of center. So anytime any politician tries to run some numbers on me, I always try to fact check it. But I'm going to throw some numbers out here that I'm going to pull up an infographic here on the screen. So in 2000, and the way that they do flu seasons is kind of like NFL seasons, right? It starts in the fall of one year, ends in the spring of another. So you always have that overlap in years. So here's a for instance, okay? In 2019 to 2020, which would be the flu season would be October of 19 until May of 2020. Okay, so if we go back in time, there were a lot of COVID people, the people that had COVID, I should say, that were sick in January and February, but we weren't testing for COVID yet. So people naturally, when they went in with flu-like symptoms, were given the flu test or something like that, and they were diagnosed with the flu. All right. So your numbers for 2019, 2020 are going to show some amount of flu, more flu than we would see this year, because they were actually testing for the flu back then. All right. But CDC estimated for 2019 to 2020, more than 38 million had the flu, became sick with influenza, leading to 400,000 hospitalizations and 22,000 deaths. Okay. Now that is a lower value. So if you have to look at it like this. Okay. So in March, when we started testing for COVID, everything became about the COVID. Everything became, if you're sick with flu-like symptoms, you have COVID. So we look at those numbers. Let's just look at the deaths. Okay. Yeah. 22,000 deaths, which I mean, you probably don't even know 22,000 people. I don't. So if 22,000 people, when you look at the very micro scale, 22,000 people that's a lot of people. But compared to the nearly 340 million people in the United States, that number is insignificant. Okay. And I'm not diminishing those people's lives that lost their lives or their families that lost a loved one. What I'm saying is that number is minuscule. Okay. But nevertheless, 22,000 deaths from the flu in 2019, 2020. In 2018, 2019, that number was like over 50% higher. There were 34,000 deaths in 2018 to 2019. Okay. That's 12,000. That's basically 12,500 more than 2019, 2020. Now, correlation without causation, right? So we're going to look at that. So masks didn't start being worn until March. People didn't start that whole flatten the curve thing until middle of March, going into April. If you look at any real charts, what you see is it kind of spikes off after that, right? Like the flu isn't as strong going into April and going into May as it is over those winter months, okay? But what you see here is, where'd all those other deaths go? Where'd those 12,000 deaths go, right? I'm thinking it's COVID. And if you look, even if you go back even further, I mean, this is like the anomaly, and this is where I find myself in a hard position here, guys, is it's hard to trust the numbers. If you go back to 2017, 2018, there were 61,000 deaths during the flu season. Now, what the hell's with that? Like, what's going on here? What's going on with these numbers? And I don't know. Okay. I don't know. But I have my suspicions. All right. And I'm not, now that we're live streaming and stuff like that, it's going to be a little bit difficult for me to throw out the conspiratorial stuff like that. Cause this is our platform here and I don't want to get banned. Speaking of banned, I'm going to digress a bit. Ryan Gass, our co-host, all right, over the past 5 to 8 years has been building up his personal brand on Facebook. It was at Ryan R. Gass. If you type in at Ryan R. Gass in your computer right now, it's not going to take you anywhere. Why? He got banned completely. Not just a 7-day ban, not a week ban. His page got permanently deleted. All right. Now he has spent thousands of dollars in ad generation through Facebook, countless hours, tons of live streams, all kinds of freaking research, all kinds of content that he put out on his page to try to build up that audience. 55,000 people. That's more people than died of the flu in 2020, 2019, and 2018 combined. Okay. That's more than all those people. He had that audience, and we were utilizing that audience here on the podcast. And for some reason, and we think maybe it's because of the podcast, we're not 100% sure, his page is gone. It's deleted. No recompense, nobody to talk to, no way to get that built back up, but it's gone. So with that being said, the conspiratorial stuff, we're still going to push that out, but it's going to be over there on the exclusive stuff, guys. And it's not hard to find that stuff. You head over to rockpodcastnation.com and there's a exclusive content page there. You just sign up. It doesn't cost you anything. It's free for a week, I think it is. And after that, it's like $10, unless you choose to contribute more. And we're always thankful for that. We'll go ahead and run that banner right here, guys, so you can check it out. All right. So getting back into it. So a little bit of conspiratorial here. You look at two different things that are happening right here. Okay. You look at Fauci, the CDC, and President Biden all coming out and saying, okay, we're going to remove the mask. If you're vaccinated, go out, be out, high five, shake hands, do all that stuff, give hugs. By July 4th, they want to have 70% of the population vaccinated by July 4th. Now, is that possible? Maybe. As of May 5th, which is the most recent data I have, that's 32%. So they need to double that quantity in less than 2 months. All right. Within 2 months, they need to double the amount that they put out in the past 5 months, and of course, Biden's going to get it done, right? Because of course he took all the credit for Operation Warp Speed. Again, not going to go into that, but we'll see what happens. But okay, so they're trying to get all these people out there. They're trying to push more people out. They're trying to do this for what? Is it really to get the economy back open? Is it really to get people moving around more freely? Is it really to do that? But Why are they telling us to get ready? Why are they trying to say, hey guys, maybe you should be more comfortable wearing masks during flu season? Why are you trying to do that? Why are they trying to change the rules? Why are they trying to assimilate us to this, right? I mean, China's been doing this for years. China's been wearing the mask for years, right? And if you look at other things, you look at wearing a mask, what does that do? Covers your face, right? And this actually helps all those activists and criminals and all that other stuff, makes them it allows them to hide their face, you know? So now it's flu season and you're walking around with a mask on and you go into, no one's really going to question you when you go into a bank, you try to rob a bank or something like that. It's just, it bothers me. All right. And it just gives me a dirty taste in my mouth. And maybe it's because I'm almost 40 years old. Maybe it's because this is the first time in my entire life, all right, that I've seen people walking around with masks on. All right. Maybe. Now, I don't know. Okay. But maybe. But it gives me a bad taste in the back of my mouth. And of course Fauci's saying you could wear it. You could wear it to prevent yourself from getting the flu. You look at the numbers. We don't have a flu season this year. Now, is it because people are practicing social distancing? Is it because people are wearing a mask? Is it because people are only being tested for COVID? I don't know. Time will tell. Time will tell. I'm thankful, okay? If the diseases were two different things, they were being categorized as two different things, and somehow we were able to save 22,000 deaths, or at most 61,000 deaths over the past year because of people wearing a mask, I'm thankful for that. Again, my position has always been this, okay? If you choose to wear a mask, wear a mask. It is your individual liberty. It is your individual choice. That's it. I'm digressing a bit here. What I wanted to kind of pivot into here is this. Right now, HR 1 is going through the House, right? If they're in that language in HR 1, and I'm going to try not to screw it up here, guys, but in the language of HR 1, there is a clause that if there is an infectious disease, states have a mandatory obligation, a mandate to have a vote by mail election. I'm going to say that to you again. Inside HR 1 right now, if there is an infectious disease going around, states have a mandate, okay? That they have a mandate to have a vote by mail election. You see what I did there? Look at what they're doing. They're trying to bring these masks out. They're trying to do this. They want us to be comfortable with these kind of infectious diseases. If we had a 1,500 flu death, this year, the count is 1,500, and then they start maybe over testing for the flu, maybe all the COVID deaths, now they're going to want them to be flu deaths or something's going to happen. And now they start hitting us with this Indian strain. Let's talk about that for a minute. Why was it racist to call COVID what it is? Why was it racist to call COVID the Chinese flu? I mean, it originated in China, okay? It is a flu-like virus. Therefore, it's a Chinese flu, but you can't say that. You can't say that because it's racist. And if we've learned anything over the past 6 months, apparently there's this huge racial prejudice against Asians in this country. News to me. Shit, I always thought it was a black and white thing. Apparently you could be racist now. Now Asians are in the mix. I think anytime a white person has a problem with anybody else, all of a sudden it's racist, right? And that's that critical race theory stuff. White guys just don't even know they're racist. They just need to be reminded that they're racist. Anyhow, I'm digressing a bit there too, guys. But the Indian strain, if you pull it up now, there are so many people in India that are dying because of this stuff. It's crazy. The Indian strain is ridiculous. Now I'm going to go ahead and share my screen here with you guys real quick. So bear with me, okay? And this is just going to take you to one of my Google web pages here. It's nothing fancy. I didn't download anything or anything. This is all stuff that you guys can pull up, all right? This is a burn pit in India. This is what they're doing with their bodies in India, all right? This is happening. They have this new Indian strain of the virus. And again, guys, this is on npr.org. You can find it yourself. All right. It's not hard to find. You just go on there and type in the Indian strain, which isn't racist to say that. You could say it's the Indian strain, but you can't say it's the Chinese virus, right? And what this image is here, guys, it just says victims of COVID-19 are cremated in funeral pyres this week in New Delhi. Scientists say the real death toll and number of infections, are likely much higher than what the Indian government is reporting. Where did we hear that before? Where did we hear that the death toll is much higher than what the government is reporting? I remember. You guys remember? Yeah. China came out a few months after COVID got to the United States and said, oh, we have it all under control. Look at what we've done. We have it all under control. United States, you guys don't have a clue. You can't fix this. Nah, they weren't reporting their numbers. And you look at it again, like India, okay, with the Indian strain. It's happening again, guys. It is happening again. And NPR, okay, they generally aren't a biased news agency. They're pretty good. And they've gone out, they've gone on the ground and they've asked people there, you know, like what's really happening here? And these people are saying, you know, we've got a village of like, you know, 100 people, 200 people, 50 of them are dead. And then you go and you talk to somebody and they say they've only logged like 9 of them as COVID deaths. All right. You tell me, guys, what do they got? They got the flu? They got the flu? I don't know, man. I don't know. That doesn't look like the flu to me. That looks like a whole bunch of dead people getting burned up. But you could say Indian strain, but you can't say Chinese flu. You can't say the China flu. You got to say Indian strain. But again, going down a rabbit hole there as I want to do, guys. So what's worrying me here with the masks, okay? Again, I fully encourage your ability to wear the masks if you want to. I do. It's your right to wear the mask if you want to, but it should be a personal choice. We said at the beginning of this, you know, we are all out to look out for our brothers and sisters. Okay. We do, but you got to have some personal liberty there. Right. And if the vaccine is the solution, I'm encouraging you guys. I went and got my vaccine. I'm not here to tell you to go get it. You guys can call me a dumbass, do whatever you want. All right. I got it. For a bunch of reasons. And if you want to find out more about that, you just go find the episode where we talked about it. It's called COVID Crazy. You can find it everywhere. Apple, Google Podcast, Podbean. It's on YouTube. You'll get my reasons there. But we got to kick this thing in the ass, because if we don't, we are going to find ourselves in the same situation in flu season coming up and in flu season next year. This is the meat and potatoes, guys. What also happens in flu season? Sure, the NFL, right? No. Elections, okay? Elections happen in the flu season. Elections happen in the flu season. COVID spikes in the flu season. Everyone likes to refer to it as fall, right? Oh, are we anticipating something big coming up this fall? Well, what they really mean is, are we expecting something coming up this election cycle? What do we stand to gain in 2022, right? You already know. We don't got to put it here. So that's why they're trying to push HR1 through. They're trying to push it through, guys. And they need 50 votes plus Kamala to kill the filibuster. And right now, Manchin, the Democrat from West Virginia, right, the centrist, if you will, he's not going to do it. But you got Kirsten Sinema, who may. And if you look at all the bloat, if you look at all the stimulus, if you look at all this other stuff, Manchin got a lot of money. He got a lot of money. And I'm curious to see what happens here, because it's crazy. It's crazy. It is crazy, man. It is crazy. Now, I hope we can kick this COVID thing in the ass, because honestly, what I want is just free elections, free and fair elections. And if there is no excuse to have massive mail-in voting, if we could get rid of that, I think that that's going to assist in having freer, more open, more reliable elections. Okay. that leads me into the second thing I want to talk to here, guys. And this is something that we talked about very recently. And I think it was earlier Monday. I think we put this out on Monday. And it's the Maricopa County audit of the votes of the presidential and the Senate vote this previous election in Maricopa County, Arizona. All right. Now, we talked about this. We went into pretty good depth with this. And I'm going to go ahead and throw a banner out here, guys. We're going to try something new tonight. Like I said, we're going to try to go get some phone calls. So I'm going to throw something out here and we'll see if it works. We'll see if we take a call. If you guys are a bunch of dickheads, we're going to drop it off. But there's a number for the phone right there. So if you guys want to call in, go ahead. I'll take your calls. But the Maricopa County stuff, they hired this organization, okay, Cyber Ninjas, which I guess in any other time, Cyber Ninjas would be a perfectly okay thing to call something. But the libs, they can't stand that name. They can't stand Cyber Ninjas. All right. But they hired the Cyber Ninjas to come in and do a forensic audit of the election, the results of the election in Maricopa County. Awesome. Right? Who doesn't want to see it? If you're a Democrat, if you're a lib, why wouldn't you want? The question is this: what does it have? What is it going to hurt? Okay, what could it possibly hurt? People are saying it's going to cost the taxpayers money. The Senate has came out and said that they allocated $150,000. Okay, California just came out and said they had a $56 billion surplus. I'm sorry, $56 million surplus, something like that. I want to get those numbers right, but they had 150. Let me tell you guys, some $150,000 isn't anything. All right, to a Senate, to a state like that. If they want to spend $150,000 to certify the election results, more power to them. It's not hurting you. It's not hurting the taxpayer. All right, it's not doing that. Okay, so I have to ask the question: what would it hurt to audit the results? Because the truth is this. You guys listening to this right now, you people way out there on the far right, because I know we got you guys. We talk to you. And most of the time, you guys have a decent opinion on stuff. But sometimes, man, shit, you guys are way out there. But even if they come back and they say there's no evidence of fraud, even if they come back and they say there's no evidence of fraud, you're not going to believe them. Because in your mind, Joe Biden stole the vote. So even if they come back and they say there's no fraud, you're not going to believe them. And you fringe guys on the left, even if they come back and they say there is fraud, you're not going to believe them because it's Cyber Ninjas. It is the owner of Cyber Ninjas was pretty active in standing up for the whole still the vote movement, right? So you guys on the left, you're not going to believe it. The guys on the left aren't going to believe it. The guys on the right aren't going to believe it. But people like myself who are pretty much in the middle, just right of center. Okay. I want to know that there is integrity in the election cycle. I want to know that we could put all the rumors to bed, right? We could just put everything to bed. We could be good to go. No worries. All right. There was this Republican Senate hired a Republican organization. Essentially, it's supposed to be non-biased. Had a selection panel. They hired all these auditors. Each of the auditors underwent a screening to determine their bias, which was done by surveying all their social media accounts for the X amount of days to say, okay, look, this guy doesn't show any intrinsic bias. We're going to bring him on as an auditor. Awesome. Okay. At the end of the day, audit the votes. Tell me what the results are. If it comes back like, hey, shit, Dominion is clean and all this stuff with Eric Coomer, right, is swept under the rug and he's not really an Antifa protagonist. If he wasn't actively, trying to suppress the votes, if he didn't say, this is what's funny about Eric Coomer. He came out and he said, I hope that there is a landslide victory, or there's going to be a landslide victory or something like that. He came out days before the election. Election started on the 6th. He came out on that Friday before and said, yeah, there's going to be a landslide victory. How the hell did he know that? How do you know that? How did the director of security for Dominion, the people that manage 70 million of American votes, that is owned by a Canadian company that has Chinese interests, how the hell did he know that? Anyhow, we could put all that stuff to bed. All we got to do is just not do a 1% audit, like which was done in a lot of these other lawsuits that went out, not a random sampling. All right, let's do a full forensic audit. And if the results come back and they say, look, there was no evidence of fraud here, none, this is good, then frickin' sweet. right? Now everybody can put it behind them and we can get on. We can march on. We can forget about all that. The people that are in the middle that have a doubt, this should answer the debate once and for all for you. The people on the far fringes of society, the far right, the far left, those people, you can't talk to them. You can't argue with them. You can't even talk. Not a single thing is going to change their mind. Just give up on that altogether. Okay. The guys in the middle, this might actually change some people's minds. It might actually impact something. Now, the question falls after that is, what do you do with the results? What if it does come back that there was massive voter fraud? And when I say massive, everybody already assumes that there's this kind of a 3% variant, okay? Plus or minus 3% in the overall average of the election, okay? And if it gets down to within 1%, then they have a mandatory recall, or not a mandatory recall, they have a mandatory recount if the numbers are so close together that it was within that 3% variant. So 3%, like, there's like 3% of fraud. Okay, there's always 3%, all right? If there's 10% or shit, if there's like 25%, that's crazy. That's crazy, all right? But so let's have it. Let's do the recount, right? Let's get in there and let's recount them. But this is what happened, okay? This is some bombshell news that just got released yesterday. All right, the directory. This was written by. Crap. Let me go and just click on the link here. This was written. This is the article here is deleted election files and ballot handling concerns prompt the Senate president to beckon Maricopa County officials to the state capitol. This was an article that was written up in the Arizona Daily. It's an independent news network. Okay. And essentially what was said was this. This is what was revealed. Okay. They went to do the forensic audit and they discovered that the entire database directory from the D drive, and if you're familiar with computers, you've always got kind of the master directory drive, right? That's the D drive. The database directory from the D drive of the machine, the primary machine, it was deleted. It was deleted. What? Yes. The database directory from the D drive of the machine, the EMS primary, was deleted. Now that's crazy. Okay. And it wasn't just deleted like yesterday. It was deleted a couple of days before the Senate was supposed to turn over, or I'm sorry, the election board was supposed to turn over the machine to the forensic auditors. That doesn't make any sense to me, right? That kind of makes you look at it and say, well, what the hell? Because part of what was in there were the results tally and reporting database. And that's gone. More information that's coming out of Maricopa County as of today was that there were these massive boxes. There's something like 2.1 million ballots, okay, were cast in the election. And they were turned over to the county. They were supposed to be turned over to the county, wrapped with anti-tamper evidence seals and being placed in a bag. All right. And each of those boxes was supposed to have a pink slip on top of it that said exactly how many ballots were inside that box. None of that happened. None of it happened. There were no anti-tamper evidence seals. They weren't being placed in bags. There's all these questions about the batch counts, right? They gave us this pink piece of paper, not me. They gave them, the audit team, right? They encountered a significant number of instances in which there was a disparity between the actual number of ballots contained in a batch in a box that was supposed to be tamper evidence sealed and the total denoted on the pink paper, on the pink report slip. All right. Why is that? And in most of these instances, this is from Fan. She says, in most of these instances, the total on the pink report slip is greater than the number of ballots in the batch. So there's that discrepancy there. They're telling you, they're giving you this box of ballots and there's this pink slip and they say, okay, there's this amount of ballots in here. And then when you go and you actually count them, there's not that many. There's an inconsistency there. So where did those ballots go? And why weren't the boxes sealed with anti-tamper tape? Did somebody get in there? Did somebody get in there and remove something that no one wanted them to see? Did somebody get in there and remove something that no one wanted them to see, and then also go and delete the directory database out of the master computer that was supposed to be? So if you think about like a distributed network hub, right? You have all of these different voting sites around Maricopa County. Each one of them has their, 8 or 10 Dominion voting machines where everybody comes up and they do their vote. All of those things are all tied back into a central directory, the EMS machine. The EMS machine has the directory database on it, right? That has all of the tallies, has the results tally and the reporting on it. That database was deleted a few days before they began the audit. What the hell? I don't get it, guys. I don't get it, but I'm keeping an eye on it. And now, as you guys know, I'm out there in a lot of the different social media groups. I'm out there in these groups and I'm talking to people. I'm like, dude, what? Like, I seriously want to get an idea from the Democrats. Like, what do you think? And all they want to do is they want to go defensive. And I get it. You can't talk to these guys. You just can't talk to them. Like, why? Okay. What do you think is going on here? You don't have anything to lose. Just be honest. Because if it could happen to the Republicans, and not even the Republicans, if it could happen to one group of people, it could happen to another group of people. And why is that? You know what I'm saying? Why are you gonna sit back on your ass while that happens? Why aren't you gonna join the fight? Why aren't you gonna ask for fair and tolerable stuff that's very easy to accommodate, guys? We did not have this problem 20 years ago. It's new. This is new. But we're still dealing with it. We're starting to deal with it. And if we freaking have to continue to wear the freaking masks for another X amount of years, at least into 2022, right? We got to wear the mask. And in HR 1, if you got to wear the mask because the disease is still out there, then you have mandatory mail-in voting, right? And then you look at the stimulus package and how many billions of dollars were rolled up into that to fund West Virginia. And the only person right now that is standing between HR 1 taking effect and us wearing masks and us having mail-in votings is Steve Manchin. And Steve Manchin saying he's not going to do it. But look at the stimulus money. Smoke follows fire. I've been saying it all along. So we'll see. We'll see. I'm not saying it's going to happen. I'm just saying watch. Okay. And this is two completely different topics here. But they are so connected that I feel that they should be talked about together. You got the freaking crazy crap going on down there in Arizona with the database being scrubbed. And that's not some wacky conservative freaking far right fringe nonsense. That is some stuff that you could go on and Google right now. The freaking state, the judge, the Democratic judge that's overseeing that knows about this. This isn't some fringe freaking topic. This is real. Okay? HR 1, you could Google it. You could read the bill. It's in there. If there's an infectious disease going around, there is a mandate in there that the states must offer mail-in voting. It's in there. And then you got the India strain that's ramping up and they're under-reporting their numbers. Now, why are they under-reporting their numbers? Do you think that maybe you could look at that and say, all right, they're not under-reporting their numbers, so that we don't think it's that big of a deal? We could forget about it. And then in 4 months, it's going to come back because we never paid attention to it. It's back. All of a sudden, 4 months from now, September, October, November, we're going into flu season. That Indian strain that we're talking about today, it's going to come back. And then guess what, guys? It's masked up again because it doesn't matter at that point. And then HR 1 says, oh shit, there's an infectious disease going around. Guess what? Mail-in voting is here to stay. Now I'm telling you, man, I'm telling you, you don't have to believe it. Just open your eyes. You can see it. All right. And if you've got an argument, if you got something to say, you want to chime in on it, guys, the phone number is right there. We'll bring you in. Now, last topic for today, guys. And I know I've been rambling here. I was hoping to get this in and out in like 30 minutes. Ryan, he called me before the episode. He said, hey, I need some muscle tonight. Can you come help me out? I was like, I don't know, man. I don't know. But trying to get this done in 30 minutes, but you know how I get, guys. I mean, I get into this stuff and it's crazy. Now, last thing for tonight, guys, if we don't get any calls in here, something I want to talk about. the border. All right. The border wall. If you look at it, all right, there was this poll that came out last week, and it showed that Joe Biden had a 63% approval rate. But then when you open up the poll, God, and I wish I would have been smarter about this, and I would have had this pulled up before we went live. But I just didn't have the time. Ryan called and dropped it on me. He's like, "Hey, you got to go by yourself, bud." So here we are. But he had a 63% approval rating. But what they did was they oversampled blacks and Asians, right? They oversampled blacks and Asians because they wanted to get an opinion on how the minority community felt about Joe Biden. So they normally sample 12% of African Americans or black, self-identified black people in the United States. They normally poll 12%. They poll 25%. And then similar numbers for Asians, okay? So you have this misrepresented view of the true approval rating of President Joe Biden in the country. Right? It's misrepresented, flat out, right? And I'm going to tell you guys something the way polls work, because I've ran a few polls. All right, I've had to do some surveys and stuff like that. You take down the names of the people that do certain polls. You take down their demographics, okay? And you could handpick your demographic. You could select them, and you say, okay, I need a poll to be received. I need to send out a poll, get the response, and I need it to indicate this opinion. Well, you just open up your little Rolodex there of like all the different surveys you've sent out and the different populations you've sent them to, and you get it out there, and you already guarantee your results. And that's why you need peer-reviewed studies. Independent polls work on occasion. But if they worked so well, why did nobody predict Donald Trump winning the 2016 election? There you go. There's your answer. Polls don't work, guys. But with that being said, and not to sound like a hypocrite here, I'm going to drop into another poll. Okay. So I get this pulled up real quick, guys. So right now, here's the truth with the border. People are pissed. I'm sure you guys saw that, and I'm not going to pull it up because even though the faces are blurred out, it is a heinous picture. There was those 4 little girls. One of them was 7 months old. Another one was naked. They were found on a rancher's property, abandoned, dehydrated, near death. How'd they get there? They walk up there from Guatemala? No. Nope. How'd they get across? Gaps in the border wall? Because these weren't the ones that were processed and then released. Okay. Now I'm going to pause right there and I want to say something. What is happening? Everybody always wants to ask this question. If you are a parent, why would you send your kids up here all alone like that? Well, that's not what's happening, guys. The parents are coming up here first. The parents are coming up here first. They come up here, they smuggle, they get across. Thousands, tens of thousands, okay? It's not a small number. Tens of thousands a month. Hundreds of thousands a year. Come up here, make it into our country. They establish residency with sometimes legal minorities within the communities, and then they send for their kids, right? There's an uncle or an aunt or somebody back. See, what the public wants to say, what the public wants to tell you, what the media wants to tell you is that all these children are coming up here to get to their aunt and uncle's house or to get to a relative's house. That's not the truth. Truth is the complete opposite. Those kids have been staying with their aunts and uncles down in those Northern Triangle countries, okay? The kids have been staying down there while the parents made it up north. The parents are in the United States, and then they're here working. You fucking knuckleheads. I can't believe if this is the first time you're hearing this, you got to open your eyes, okay? The parents come up to the United States. They get a job. They get social welfare. They save their money. They send their money through Wells Fargo or any other way down to those countries. All right. Those kids down in those countries are staying with family, loved ones, friends, people like that. Okay. Parents are in the United States earning their money. They're sending it down there to take care of the kids and save up enough to pay the cartels to smuggle them up to the north, up to the border. Okay. It's backwards than what the news wants you to believe. Once they get up to the border, These kids are programmed with the name of who they need to say is a family member of them in the United States. They get released to that family member, and guess who's waiting there? Guess who's waiting? Mom and dad. Mom and dad. All right. That's what's really happening. All right, Rock Nation. And if you guys ain't seen that yet, just open your eyes. All right. That's all I can say. So what happened today? What did I see in the news today? Biden just approved another 13.7 miles of border wall to be built. You cannot make this shit up, right? What's the first couple things he did while he got in office was like, scribble, 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 no more Keystone XL pipeline. Scribble, 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 all right? $6 trillion out to the people. Scribble, 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 no more border wall. Now what's he doing? He's building the border wall. Ha! He's building the border wall. 13.7 more miles. He's building the border wall. He's building that. He's trying to fix what he broke. Now, granted, guys, we are not apologetic here. We are not Trump supporters. Never have been, okay? We're policy supporters. And the policy under Donald Trump was not perfect. There were still illegals getting into this country, but it was much, much better than it is today. Much, much better. And there was a plan to get that freaking difference down to near zero. You're never going to get zero. There's tunnels, guys. You know what I'm saying? There's other ways to come in. There's tankers. There's trucks. There's all this other stuff. You know, not everybody is walking across the desert. There's a lot of other ways into this country. I worked on that border for 9 months. I know what I'm talking about. But it was on its track. It wasn't doing so bad, okay? We were getting there. I'm from Arizona, family in Arizona. Like I just said, I worked on that Arizona border for 9 months. I know what I'm talking about here, guys. It wasn't so bad. Now it is, with the stroke of a pen. So what's Biden do now? He starts to build them again. And the problem is, guys, the wall was already funded. The entirety of the wall was funded. Donald Trump peeled away money from the military and dedicated it to the wall. The wall was funded. Why are you going to not finish something that you already paid for? It doesn't make any damn sense. Well, shit. Now I don't blame him if you look at the cost of material these days with the tariffs and everything. Shit. Cost of lumber is up 187%. Cost of wheat is up 60%. Corn is double that. Building materials are expensive. I don't blame Biden for not wanting to build the wall. It's expensive, but it was already paid for. The contracts were already signed, sealed, and delivered. Okay? Build the wall. And guess what's happening? Biden's doing it. That's what I want, guys. If there's a fax blast or something like that you could do, walk around with build the wall signs and be like, Biden's already doing it. Biden's already doing it. He's building the wall, guys. But talking about that poll I was going to bring up, all right? So here's the truth, okay? People are pissed about what's going on. You got minorities. You have illegal immigrants in this country that were receiving the stimulus bill, right? It's a fact. You don't got to take my word for it, and I'm not going to get into it. Google it. You'll find it there, right? You already know that the doctors can't turn away illegals when they come in if they got a broken leg. They got to be served. All that's costing us money. All of it's costing us money. All of it's costing us money. But the government receives negative ratings for how it's handled the situation at the border, okay? Now, these stats, about 2/3 of U.S. adults, 68%, so greater than 2/3, okay, say that the government is doing a very or somewhat bad job. So 33% say they are doing a very bad job, all right? And 35% are saying they're doing a somewhat bad job of dealing with the increased number of people seeking asylum at the country's southern border. While fewer than half as many, 29%, say it is doing a very or somewhat good job. All right. Let's just round that up. 70% of the population right now thinks that your president, my president, the president of the United States, arguably the person in this planet with the most power, the most powerful man in our universe, all right, 70% of people don't like the way that he's handling the southern border. What does that tell you? Now, with that poll coming out, what's he do? Builds the wall. He builds a fucking wall. Excuse my language. If Ryan was here, he'd make me put $1 in the tip jar there, but that's what he does. He builds the wall, guys. And yeah, you know what? I hoped we could get some calls in today, guys. It doesn't look like it's going to happen. I'm going to go ahead and pull that banner off here because we are about to end the broadcast. But I do want to thank you guys for dialing in. It really is a pleasure to be able to come out here and talk to you guys every week. The situation with Ryan, it's evolving. I've been getting a couple text messages here during the episode. He wanted to call in, but he's wrapped up. When that situation finds resolution, we will break the story here on the podcast. And I'm telling you guys something, it's substantial. It's a big deal. And I hope that I'll tell you this, he's got the video guy with him and things are happening. So guys, take a second, stop what you're doing, hit the share button on this, get it out there. People can watch it. You know, where else are you going to find an hour of free content? I mean, it's good stuff, guys. Where else are you going to get an opportunity to call in and talk with your boys here? All right, keep coming back every Thursday night, guys. We're going to be going live from the bunker here, ROC HQ, and we're going to get it going. So, yep, hit the share button, head over to YouTube. Make sure you hit the subscribe button there, guys. If you're just joining and you missed the beginning of the episode, I was telling you guys how our co-host here, Ryan Gass, he had a 55,000 person page, a public figure page that he's cultivated over the past 5 to 8 years, investing money in ad revenue, sponsoring different things, building up that audience. Just like that, it was canceled, gone, irrecoverable. He will never get that back. So we're looking at other ways to get the message out to you. Right now, I'm streaming on YouTube. I'm streaming on the Right of Center, Conservative America Facebook group, and I'm streaming to our ROC Podcast Nation Facebook page. If you're following us on one of those, guys, hit that share button. Let people know that we still exist, that we're still putting out content. Head over to YouTube, hit that subscribe and share button there, guys. Give it a thumbs up. And if you really want to be a hard charger, guys, head on over to rocpodcastnation.com and go to pledge your support. You could help us spread the mission while you're there, guys. One of our latest episodes on YouTube got over 100 watches. That's pretty good for, some people have only been doing this for a couple months. So we're getting there, guys. So keep coming back. And with that, we are out here. And as Ryan would say, stay strapped or get clapped. Deuces.